All right, down to 9 minutes left on this limited time series for Ford Shelby GT500. I got 14 tiers down though, so down to one final tier. 45 gold to skip, but we're not gonna do that. Actually run through. I think I have enough time to get through here. So starting with the endurance at Silverstone International. Target is 10.1 kilometers. Rattlesnake, I think, is the record setter at the moment. And of course, I'm sporting the special time trial competition livery. The Day of the Dead time trial. Pretty cool looking. All right. So yeah, this limited time series, as you can see, came down to the very, very final minute here. And considering that completing each tier, especially these later tiers, usually take 10 minutes, around 10 minutes. Usually a little bit longer than 10 minutes. So having less than 9 minutes left on the clock here, definitely pushing it to the very last minute. It was not my intention, but it just kind of turned out that way. What can I say? So obviously, by the time this video does get uploaded, the event would have long expired. In fact, since I have less than 9 minutes, and my guess is completing this final tier actually will take more than 9 minutes. But the thing to note is, as long as you get that last trophy event started before the timer expires, you should be okay, even if you win that event after the timer runs out, so to speak, right? So, all right. But task at hand here, endurance. Target to beat is like 10 kilometers, which is about the max that you get in these limited time series. A Rattlesnake being one of the fastest bots in the game. The second half of this limited time series, if you guys been watching my playthrough, I kind of didn't really do any bot training at all. I just kind of started to go just straight up, not getting too concerned about the margin of victory, so now I am up against the top tier flag bots. Yes, they are top tier, but they're still flag bots, which means it should be manageable. On occasion, we do come across some flag bots in these limited time series that sport almost like they have higher PR than we do. That was a possibility in the past. I don't know if that is still the case. So I feel like, and those kind of elements would only affect the like speed events, like speed snap, speed record. If your car just does not have enough, upgrades to hit the target, then you just don't. You just have to, spend more resources, in-game resources, right, to get that done. Obviously, if you're running with a fully upgraded car, then you don't have to worry about those kind of issues typically. I don't think they throw impossible goals like that anymore. Important word there is the anymore part, because in the past, if you didn't bot train, sometimes they have thrown bots that's just impossible to beat. Certainly with the limited time series PR, it would have been impossible. So anyway, I didn't really manage the clock here very well, so I overtook too many cars. So after hitting that 10-kilometer distance mark, I have time to kill to get this endurance done, and I don't wanna add any more to the timer because obviously I am running with the limited amount of time here left on the event itself. So I got 2 more gold trophies to pick up here. So yeah, we'll wrap that up with some awful reverse donut that looked less like donut and probably more like a pretzel. That's right, that was a pretzel. Anyway, 10.1 kilometers done. That's a lot of service bars taken out for just a 1 gold trophy event that's not a cup with a high lap count here. But all right, so 1 down, 2 more to go, or 30 gold to skip. We're not going to do that. All right, here we go. Hunter at the Red Bull Ring Grand Prix circuit. Target to beat 330 meters. And I think that was Rattlesnake again, wasn't it? All right, so we actually have, so this is what you get, of course, if you don't bot train. You actually have positive number where it's actual Hunter. You have to track down and overtake Sylvia, as opposed to how I normally run these events with bot training, where you end up with a negative number, meaning you let Sylvia finish first, which means it's not really much of a hunter as much as it is kind of hunt and give up along the way. All right, so 330 I think was the target. Silverstone, that's the last circuit. Red Bull Ring Grand Prix, one of the smaller size Grand Prix circuit, but it's Grand Prix circuit nonetheless, so should have plenty of track still left up ahead to overtake Sylvia and then some. There's that downhill corner right there, the right-hander, one of the more important and more difficult corner to really tackle clean. All right, and then we got the left-right combination as I overtake Sylvia. Very fast corners. Gotta use that camber to bounce from one corner to the other. And yeah, that came down a little close at the end, but not to worry, enough to finish in style. Sliding sideways, showing off that Day of the Dead livery, right? We're still winning with 413 meters, so that's good. All right. Pick up some fame points along the way. Yeah, Rattlesnake and Darkness, Maestro Man, those are all some of the fastest flag bots the game has to throw your way. They're still flag bots, so manageable. All right, so down to one final cup for final gold trophy. 20 gold to skip, but no, we're not going to do that. PR requirement is 60.5, which I have already met. Actually above that, 60.6. So right, once again, some 250 gold, right? 3 upgrades across the board, 21 upgrades total to gain the entry essentially to this final cup here at Suzuka West. 5-lapper, grid up 22. All right. And the thing to watch out for, if you ever find yourself in this kind of situation where limited time series timer probably is going to be expiring very soon, certainly by the end of this particular race. So obviously you don't want to lose this race. Best thing to do is to actually win this, because I have a feeling 5 laps around the West circuit, which is kind of a medium-sized circuit, will put your car in red. of course, right now I am taking advantage of the instant free service. So even if I, don't win this race, I can just, retry and get the car serviced right away. Because it'll most likely put the car in red. 5 laps? Yeah, I think so. So, because that's the reason why I mentioned that is if you end up not winning this race, which is the one final trophy that you need, and you try to service and you run out of ads or something like that, and then you try to, you instead of retrying, you continue, then you will get kicked out of the limited time series screen, and there's no way for you to get back in because obviously timer would have expired by now. Certainly by now. 2 laps in this final cup, and we started with 9 minutes left on the clock, right? And that first endurance was a decent length. I ran 10 kilometers, and then I had leftover time on the clock, so I had to burn that, which was probably not the best way to manage the clock for this kind of situation. But you know what? That's all fine because I don't think I will lose this race. I know, still chasing down the leader here, Oral Pod. As we head into lap 3. Alright, so we'll run through some different viewing modes here. So last one, of course, was the bumper view, or chin to the tarmac view, as I like to call it. Almost like feel your chin scraping against the blacktop here. But the hood view, probably one of the more realistic looking race view for Real Racing 3. The reason being, the cockpit view I think is a little too obstructive, and in real life I don't think your vision is going to be that obstructed, because obviously you can turn your head and look around and so on and so forth. So at least that's my opinion. Alright, briefly overtook Oral Pod only to be pushed out as I let him have the inside lane through the parabolica. So he used me as the barrier to kind of push himself through with more speed, while I obviously couldn't do that on the outside. So alright, now let's try this penultimate lap in the cockpit view. The best sounding view, certainly, and always nice to see the dashboard and the tachometer and all that. Alright, so we'll overtake right there, and this time let's make sure that he doesn't sneak up on me. Alright, hairpin. Alright, so 30 meters is safe distance, and we're building on it. And let's make sure we get through this parabolica without skidding out, because at this point in the race, mistakes can be fatal. I'll take the outside. We're beginning to lap some slower opponents. Alright, whoa! Pay attention. Trying to change the viewing mode here. Oh, yeah. That tiny little mistake. Oral Pod caught up right behind me there. But he might be stuck behind that bot. The slower bot, that is, the one that we were just overlapping. Alright. I think we are good now. We're beginning to separate. Alright, another bot to overlap, which means Oral Pod is gonna get stuck behind the other bot that I just overtook. Yeah, bots are very, very bad at lapping opponents. They just in general struggle with traffic, which works in our flavor flavor too. Anyway, just like that, crossing that finish line for the final gold trophy. 546 and change. Pick up some, I would say about 20,000 motorsport dollars for that effort. And some 3,400 fame points. All right. So that will do it for this final cup. Look at that lap time. Yeah, that was actually pretty close. And as I mentioned, yeah, 5 laps. We'll put the car in red because it's, West Circuit, medium-sized circuit. Once again, 3 upgrades across the board. As you can see, 21 upgrades total for a cost of 250 gold. You can win that final trophy. 20 gold, 100% reward, which makes up the total 50 gold. So net cost is 200 gold to win this car through this limited time series. And speaking of the car, let's pick that up. Very cool. Yeah, so the Mustangs in the game are pretty good performers, I gotta say. Often pitted up against the Camaros, right? And I think at least in the Real Racing 3 in-game, I think the Ford does come ahead usually. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. So thanks for tagging along. And let's see. Yeah, the event has expired. Anyway, we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.